Hi, it's Natalie James here again from eConcept Consulting. So in my first introduction video, I covered off some of the key points around what I do as an as an e-commerce consultant. What I want to start with today is looking at some of the basic principles on e-commerce shopping and looking at some of these brilliant basics. Now, I know sometimes this can be a bit of a dull section. Everyone's like, yeah, we've done this already. However, even on some of the largest retail platforms, I still see some of the key fundamentals still not being executed particularly well. And I find it so frustrating because it takes so much to get your shopper onto your website and onto that platform. It's so important to make sure that you make it as easy as possible for them to find what they're looking for or inspire them for new products to buy. With shoppers being so fickle nowadays, at the click of a button, they can just abandon basket or go and find that product somewhere else. It's super important that we make it really really easy for your shoppers to find what they're looking for. So what I wanted to cover off today was 3 key tips to make sure on brilliant basics, to see that the things that you could be doing to make sure that you are covering some of these brilliant basics. So it's all about making your site as easy to shop and easy to buy as possible. First up, I'm going to cover off is product titles. I know, again, this can be rather dull, but again, it's something that I do see across a lot of retailers where the product titles are just exceeding, the manufacturers are giving the product title, is exceeding the actual number of characters within that actual field description. This is particularly important when shopping online on mobile is obviously more and more important and increasingly popular. This actually can be reduced, and it means that the shopper can't necessarily see what the full product title is. So you need to make sure that you are optimizing your product titles. This may mean shortening them slightly and having to use some abbreviation, but at the same time not compromising the actual being able to comprehend and understand what the product is. Now, most retailers look for around about 40 to 55 characters per product title, but this can vary per retailer. So I would suggest that you work closely with your retailers and make sure you understand what exactly the number of characters in that field are. And I would also operate on the principle that you look at your top 20% of products that deliver 80% of your sales as a priority first. So you have a look at your online sales and also your in-store sales and have a look at which ones cross over, and then make sure that each one of those product titles are optimized within those characters using abbreviations and things where necessary. Okay, so the next point I'd like to cover off is product descriptions. Now, what I see over and over again, especially in on fast consumer or consumer goods retail platforms, are the product descriptions do need to cover off some basic regulations, which is obviously, of course, we all need to be adhering to that. The other area, though, is making sure that your product description does also actually help sell the product. So I often just see very basic factual information that can often be seen as quite dull and repetitive. It would be really good if you could use this space, which is effectively free advertising space, to really help sell your product. Use some more descriptive titles, some more about what it tastes like, what it could go well with, what you could wear it with, what the fabric is made of, all those sorts of things. And make sure you actually use some more descriptive vocabulary in that actual product description. But again, don't make it too long. Keep it fairly short and concise, because your online shopper's attention span, I think, is less than 5 seconds. So you really do only have a short while to actually make an impact. Okay, and my final point is around primary images. So again, when I've worked as a contract through a number of different retailers and manufacturers, I do see very often that they just use the product pack shots that the brand teams have taken for either updated new SKUs or brand extensions. It's vitally important. I can't really emphasize enough. It's super important to make sure that you actually do create online specific images for your primary image. And there are 2 key reasons for that. Obviously, you want to make sure your image is filling up the amount of white space on that product tile that you have. Not too much, but enough so that when you're either looking at it on a mobile or on screen, predominantly more on mobile with online shopping, is that you need to be able to see actually what is on the front of that pack. If you've got a zoom in feature, that is even better. Not all retailers have that, but if you can aim and aspire to have that, I definitely would, because many shoppers do want to be able to, obviously with all the iPhones and Androids now, want to be able to zoom in and have a look at the further detail on the packaging. If there are any specific key features of that product, for example, whether it's vegan, gluten-free, whether it's a certain percent extra free, make sure these products are either slightly enlarged or do stand out specifically on the pack. And this can make the decision of buying and not buying in that split second. It's done for you by making that really clear. So it does say that, you know, the more content you put on your images for your product, the more that actually more and more likely it is you're going to sell that product, because you've already got that customer engaged. And if they can pick out that key information quickly from the images, more so than scrolling through the actual product description and information, they're more likely to add it to their basket, because it's hitting on that point of speed and convenience. Make it easy for them as possible. So super important point there. Make sure that, especially for your top selling SKUs and products, that you do actually have an agency create some online specific images for your retailers. And the last point on primary images is making sure that for particularly large or small items, Amazon have done this particularly well. See if you can help explain scale. There's often been a sketch in the background of a person holding the product so you can give it some sort of scalability. I still remember when I accidentally bought, oh my goodness, it was a huge pile of bananas. That's all I could say. It would feed about 10 hungry monkeys for about a week. Got delivered to my door. So again, make sure you do scale on your products. If, for example, it's a massive big pack of dog food, or if it's a 50 centilitre bottle of vodka, that you make sure that scale is able to be conveyed in that image. It's much more effective than it having written in the text, because again, it's that split-second decision of adding it to the basket. So those are my 3 key tips for this week, which is around making sure your product titles are optimized, ensuring that your product description helps sell your product, and making sure that you do create for your top selling products some online specific images and scalability if you need to. And my final note for this blog is around making sure that you do take a record of these sales, of these products that you make changes to, pre and post. Take a sales read when you first implement the changes, and then 6 to 12 weeks later, take another read of that. You'll have to strip out any promotions or other areas that you'll need to consider. But by doing that, it will help you see whether or not you've helped increase some conversion rates by making sure you've stripped back some of those barriers on those top selling products, making it easier for your shopper to buy your products and ultimately create those much wanted basket conversions. Any questions, please contact me on hello@econceptconsulting.com or contact me if you want to discuss this further. I'll be more than happy to take your questions. Thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.